All right, this is our last video dealing with Pythagorean Theorem. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can use the Pythagorean Theorem to find the distance between points that are on a coordinate plane. Okay, so you can use the Pythagorean Theorem to find distance in the coordinate plane. Okay, so on this first problem it says find the distance between P and Q. So of course if we're using the Pythagorean theorem, then we're dealing with a right triangle. Anytime you're asked to find distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane like this, we have to form our right triangle. So we can either form our right triangle this way and have this be our 90-degree box, or you can form your right triangle this way. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, now as you can tell, there are no numbers on these triangles now. So we have to use the coordinate plane and the numbers that they gave us to come up with those numbers. So the first thing you need to notice is what they're counting by. So down here on the x-axis as well as the y-axis, I can tell they're counting by ones. So I simply need to count how many boxes there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can also tell that it goes from 6 to 12, so the distance between 6 and 12 is 6. For this one, it goes from 5 to 13, so that distance is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the distance that we're finding is from P to Q, so we're looking for our hypotenuse. Okay, so we're going to put into our formula 6 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. We're going to solve, so 8 squared is 64, 6 squared is 36. 36 plus 64 is 100. Square root both sides, I get 10. We're just going to call this 10 blocks, since that's what those are. Now it doesn't matter where on a coordinate plane these points are located. Like you notice on this one, we're over here into the negative numbers on the left-hand side for point P. That doesn't matter in terms of when we go to count our triangles, because we're only talking distance, and distance can never be negative. So we really just need to be able to count our boxes to find out our distance around the triangle. So going up there are 2, and going to the left there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, we're trying to find C. I'm not going to do that one for you. You should be able to solve that one on your own. So I'll be looking for that when you bring your notes to me. All right, number 3 says you walk along the edge of a park, and then you take a shortcut represented by P to Q. So P to Q is right here, so this is our shortcut. What is the length of the shortcut? So this is what they want to know. So they want to know C. So we have to figure out the distances for our legs. We have to be careful here because the first thing that I notice is that they are not counting by ones. So they are counting by tens. And on this one, the point R is in the middle of a box. So I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 5. And if I'm going up, I have 10, 20, 30, 45, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and that's in the middle of a box again, so 75. We can also tell that from the point. They've told us right here what the x amount is, and since this is the x number, it's 45, and going up deals with the y value, and in this point the y value is 75. So we set up our problem and solve for C. Again, I'm going to leave you to do that on your own. And they've given us a label here, so make sure you label your final answer. This last one says, at Parley Farms, the individual fields are laid out in rectangles like the one shown in the graph. What is the shortest distance from the shed, which is at point A, to the well, which is at point B? So they want to know the shortest distance. Okay, well, I can go from A to D to B, which is, let's see, they're counting by 10, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So I could walk A to D to B, but it'd be 170. I could walk from A to C to B, but it'd be 170. Or I can see what the distance is to cut across the field, and go straight from A to B by solving for this, which would be our C value. And I'll leave you to do that. Make sure you label. Okay. These are fairly easy word problems. You just have to understand how you come up with your numbers, and it's simply a matter of counting the boxes and knowing what the boxes are worth on the coordinate plane. So the thing you have to pay attention to the most is what they're counting by and on every single coordinate plane. Okay, when you're done with those problems and you have them all solved and labeled, bring your notes up to be signed off.